Welcome back, guys. This is Jason, KM4ACK. So every year, the wife and I take a trip over to the Smoky Mountains in Tennessee. And I always take my radio with me and perform some sort of test, typically while we're over there. Usually it's with Andy N0 JPD. And normally we set up dates and times to perform whatever test we want to do, whether it's PSK 31 or, maybe something on 60 meters or whatever we happen to want to test that particular year. This year we did things a bit differently, though. I got 5 operators that helped me out with this. It's Andy N0 JPD, VE3 OBO, KF7 VUT, KA4 ANA, and KD8 QWH. And what we did this go around is we set up nothing. We didn't establish any times or dates to try to make contact. I wanted to make it as though there was an event in my area, some sort of catastrophe or natural disaster that had taken out all power, internet, landlines, and cell phones. And I wanted to see if we could use the systems that we've built here on the channel and installed on the Raspberry Pi to establish communications with each of these various stations. Now, VE3 OBO was not near his radio during this test. He was traveling as well. So we only communicated with him either via text message using the APRS system or via email. But the purpose of this test was just to kind of exercise and test the things that we've installed on the Raspberry Pi and see how it would perform during a real emergency, or at least a simulated real emergency. All right, guys, enjoy the video. All right, so I tuned the radio over to 144.390, which is the APRS frequency. Started up my Digipeater, and I have successfully sent out, looks like 3 test messages so far. So those were messages that I sent to 3 different people's cell phones via text message, and I've gotten replies back so far from 2 of them. So I know that it works, and the really nice part about this, having the elevation that I do here, it's only taking 5 watts to get into another iGate out there. All right, guys, stick around. All right, so what I want to do is I want to see if I can make a WinLink connection to PAT over 2-meter packet. Playing around with this a little bit. I've went ahead and started Direwolf and the KISS TNC and got the KISS attach command running. So I've got PAT pulled up and ready to make a connection. But before I can do anything, I've got to find a station to connect to. And then I have a packet list that was downloaded just a couple of days ago pulled up. I'm going to do a quick search and see if all right, let's do a quick search and see what we come up with in EM85. This is the one that I'd kind of viewed before I left home, and I think that this one might give us something. So I'm going to go ahead and right click on that and copy that call sign, and then the dial frequency is 145.050. And let's see if there's any chance I can make a connection to this. Now I'm only running 5 watts right now, but we're gonna say AX25. Let's see if I can do the paste into that box, and let's see if we get any kind of a connection here at all. So it takes it a couple of minutes to get going on the first one, but we'll be able to see down there in the bottom if we do get a connection. I'll actually kind of be surprised if I do get a connection to this. The radio has not transmitted anything out yet, and I'm waiting to see. There it goes. It finally did transmit. Oh wow, what do you know, it did get a connection to that. I'm actually kind of surprised that it did. That is awesome, because I'm only running 5 watts of power here to make that connection. Now let's see if it'll go ahead and complete that connection. Doesn't look like I'm getting a response from the server now. Alright, it does look like it's accepting some messages. So let's see what will come through here. Alright, don't know if you can see the bar at the top of the screen. I'm going to move that just a little bit for you. And you can see the progress bar going across the top and indicating that we do have messages coming through. And wow, looks like we grabbed 4 messages coming through. So that is spectacular. All right, well, that was a good little test. We was able to make a connection over 2 meter packet, 1200 baud FM. Looks like there's a few messages I need to go read and see if I can reach out to everyone that's participating in the exercise. Yep, so that's my What's Up meter. And you can see right about there that we've used, I've used about 0.67 amp hours tonight out of the battery, and that doesn't include the testing I did. Getting everything set up, I actually didn't have the What's Up meter installed, but this meter should prove invaluable as this test continues. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow for some more testing. So when we headed out, I did not bother topping up the battery before we left. It had been charged up for our winter fill day, and I just thought to try to keep the exercise as real as possible, I wouldn't top off the battery before we left. So that'd probably been about 30 days, maybe a little less since we topped it off. So I just estimated that I started with 8 amp hours of charge in the battery. It is a 10 amp hour battery, but you can only rate the lithium iron phosphate batteries to somewhere around 80 to 90% of their rated charge. So if it's 10 amp hours, I'm going to, just for this, I assumed 8 amp hours. Burned about half an amp hour testing, getting everything set up, and then another 3/4 of an amp hour passing some messages. At the end of the first day, I had 6.75 amp hours estimated at the end of the day, and then I used another 3/4 of an amp hour checking WinLink messages during the morning of day 2. So I probably had roughly 6 amp hours in the battery when we connected it to the solar panel for the first day. All right, so after I got the solar panel set up this morning, I obviously can't use my primary radio, but I went ahead and grabbed my HT out of my bag. I was just kind of curious if I could get the APRS running. This is the APRS unit that we've shown on the channel before. It uses the Baofeng with Vox and then this old Android cell phone to get its signal. And I believe this station here, KE4OTZ-3, I believe that's the one that we're able to use the gate through to get messages in and out. So I was able to successfully send a couple of messages this morning. I haven't gotten a reply from Andy, but it's still early where he is. He's an hour behind us here. But another option to be able to use that I wanted to kind of give a test while the solar panels were charging. All right, guys, we'll check back later in the day. All right, so here's an update for the end of the first day of solar. The sun rose over there, so I've got my panel facing there before me and the wife headed to town. Sun is now actually over that direction, so I'm not getting any more on the panel, and I could move it, but the really cool thing, and it's not even showing now, when I came in earlier, This little light here was solid green, indicating that it was fully charged, and it looks like we got 2.6 amp hours out of it today. So battery's fully charged, ready to go again. All right, so it's about 15-30 hours on my second day. I was able to get the battery full charged. However, I'm not able to connect to WinLink right now, either 2-meter or HF. So I'm going ahead and trying to leave a few messages for a couple of different operators out there on JS8 call, and hope that they see the message and know that I'll be on JS8 tonight at 7:30, and maybe can chat with them then. All right, guys, we'll keep you up to date. Let me see if I can get a few more messages sent out here. All right, so I told everybody that I would be on here at 7:30 Eastern time. It's about 12 minutes after 7. I just got the computer booted up. GPS has gotten time. And I just sent out a heartbeat. I can't hear Andy apparently. N0JPD. You can see right here on the screen, I sent out a signal to noise report and did not get anything back from him. I'm going to try that one more time. Actually, you know, instead of that, let's try and query for the call sign, and let's put in N0JPD. And let's go ahead and send that out and see if anybody has heard from Andy. I believe you'll be able to see the transmit button in the very top right-hand corner. Yep, now it's green, so it's right over here. If you can see that, it's red. Now, I moved the antenna around today. Yesterday, I just wasn't very successful with HF connections. After moving the antenna, it seems like I'm getting a lot better luck with the signal being sent out. So I'm seeing 2 different stations telling me now that they can hear him. Let's see, that's K1 UTI and HB9 AVK. Both can hear him. But it looks like K1 UTI can hear him at 00. Now let's see what I have him at. Looks like I have that station at -4, so that's probably a good relay point for Andy. So let's go up to K1 UTI and let's try to relay. So directed to, and let's send the message there, and let's say N0JPD. And we'll just ask him how copy. And let's go ahead and send that transmission out and see if we can get that relayed through to him. All right, guys, so looking right here, we can see that Andy has acknowledged our message that we sent to him. I'm gonna wait around for a reply and maybe try a voice contact with Andy. Told everybody I would be on at 19:30. It's actually about 19:20 right now, so if I could establish maybe a 80-meter contact with Andy before we got going with everybody else, it would be kind of cool. And there again, I don't know who all got the message. I tried to send out a WinLink, but I was actually having trouble with WinLink connections this afternoon. So I went ahead and used the APRS message, or the APRS system rather, to send out some text messages. So I hope everybody got the message that I would be on JS8 tonight at 7:30. We'll see. All right, let's see if we can maybe hear from Andy and establish voice comms with Andy before everybody else is supposed to be here in about 10 or 15 minutes. Wait a minute, I've got another message coming in. I see the red lighting up right over here. And that's my buddy up in Michigan. So let's see what he says. I'll check that out. Good eve, Jason. Hope your batteries are strong. So let's let him know. All right, so let's see if we get a reply back in here from KD8 QWH. Oh, that's kind of cool. I'm seeing my buddy Tim in here as well. KF7 VUT. So I told him I would be on tonight, and I'm seeing him at -1. But we're going to see if we get a reply from this transmit that we sent out before we jump over to anybody else. So I'm hearing Andy. Andy is actually the weakest, but he's also the closest to me for 40 meters. It looks like KF7 VUT is coming in at -3, and then Andy is way down in the noise at -19. KD8 QWH is also looking good, although he's a little weak at -17. I did get a good signal from him earlier, and you can see that right there. So we've made a reply to him. Let's see if we get a reply back. All right, since I haven't heard anything back from the previous station, I'm gonna go ahead and send KF7 VUT a SNR report and see if we get anything back from him. Again, you can see the station transmitting right over here, upper right-hand corner. You can see the red light right there, and it'll go green when we're in receive mode. All right, we got an answer back from Tim, and it looks like we've got a -12. So we're hearing him better than he's hearing us, but he's at least hearing us. So let's go ahead and send a message out. All right, so we'll go ahead and send that message out now. I didn't send that as a pop-up or a flag or anything like that. I just sent that as a directed message. So we'll see if Tim's at his radio, and maybe we'll get a reply if he is. All right, and with the What's Up meter, you may or may not be able to see that in the video right there. Yeah, you can kind of get a shot of it. Looks like right now we have used, I'm waiting on it to roll back through, about 0.8 amp hours out of the battery. Now, it looks like Andy sent us a SNR report, and we're responding at -18 that we're hearing him. So I didn't hear back from KF7 VUT, but we did hear back from Andy. All right, so let's try sending him a directed message and see if he can copy it. So please pick 80 meter frequency for voice comm. So after a few minutes of trying through JS8 and not being able to establish comms with Andy, direct connection anyway, we were successful with some relays, but 40 meters had just gone long for us by that point. We could have probably swapped over to 80 on JS8 and made it work okay, but I went ahead and just moved over to the APRS system and use the APRS system to send a message, text message, direct to Andy's phone. And let's try text messaging Andy. So we'll send an @SMS GTE, and then I've already got an alias established for Andy. So let's say @Andy. Question mark, and the question mark will send us a message back confirming delivery. So I'm just going to tell him to pick a 80 meter frequency for voice and go ahead and send that, and then we'll ask him what that is. So I went ahead and sent 2 text messages to his phone, and we'll see if we get a reply from him. Hopefully those will go through. Those have been pretty successful the time that we've been over here. Just checking the battery right now, and it looks like we've gone through about 1.3 amp hours of battery. We had 7.4 to start with, so that's going to drop us down to around 6 amp hours of battery. So hopefully we're going to get sun tomorrow and get this thing back up to full charge. The other thing I didn't notice earlier I would have done, our iPad is at 39%. So we're going to have to charge the iPad at some point, since that's our display model. All right, let's see what happens with Andy here. So one of the things I wanted to do during this test was to try to pull somebody in that wasn't aware that the test was going on, didn't know where we were operating or anything like that. And remember, I'm only using ham radio to get messages in and out. But I wanted to establish voice comms with Andy and then have him pass a message via text to my brother-in-law and ask him to join us for this QSO. So that's what you hear going on in the background now. It was successful. It was just one more means of communication during the test.
I'm just running 100 watts, but good copy on you. The JS8 relays worked pretty good too. That was pretty cool. But yeah, it's amazing. You're coming through quite well, actually, for 100 watts, and your antenna probably isn't very high up.
No, actually, I moved my antenna today. Hey, by the way, I moved down to 50 watts. Still good copy?
I didn't even hardly notice the difference. I couldn't really tell the difference between 50 and 100. You're still right at the same.
Beautiful. Hey, I want to grab a phone number for you, and if I could, get you to send a text message to Rick, W4RPW. Are you good for that?
Yeah, shoot it on over to me.
Just let him know to join us on 3880 here, so maybe he can, we'll see if he can and hear both of us.
Okay, Roger. I'll send that over right now. Stand by.
We're standing by.
Just sent Rick the message at that number, just waiting for a reply.
KM4ACK standing by.
N0JPD standing by. Should be pretty soon, I think. The message does indicate it was delivered and read, so expecting a reply back any second. N0JPD.
All right, so finally got a text message relay thanks to Andy, N0JPD, and I'm waiting on my brother-in-law, Rick, W4RPW, to join in on 3880. So this will kind of be cool because he wasn't included on the original group. So it'll be kind of awesome that we got a message relayed over to him and be able to get him on voice tonight. He's a little bit light, but definitely readable. W4RPW, this is KM4ACK. How copy, Rick?
Hey, Jay. I got a weak copy on you, but I can make out what you're saying.
Roger, roger. All right, that's everything I got. 100 watts. How copy, Rick?
Oh, yeah, that's a whole lot better.
All right, I only went up about 30 watts, so the band may be coming and going this evening, but really cool that we got you on here this evening with this little exercise that we're doing.
Okay. Well, you sound a whole lot better. I should turn my amp on.
Good deal. Well, we're over here in Gatlinburg. I guess you knew that already, but we didn't schedule any voice comms prior to coming over here. I've been using APRS to text message Andy back and forth, and we've also been using JS8 call to go ahead and set everything up. So it was kind of a fun little exercise that we did this go around. All right, so this has kind of been my ritual as the battery is charging during the day, the primary battery. I'm using the little Baofeng connected to the Android. The phone doesn't have any service, but it allows me to send APRS messages. So I can send direct APRS, and I can also use the APRS system to send text messages as well. So what I'm doing now is I'm conversing with KF7VUT, trying to set up a voice call over 40 meters a little bit later in the day. He's asking me what frequency, and I'm not sure yet because Al, KA4ANA is going to be choosing the frequency. We're going to use APRS messaging and APRS to text messaging to kind of coordinate that. So I was just replying to Tim's message here and letting him know, as time got closer, I'd be able to send him a message and let him know. All right, so I'm not exactly sure what's going on here. This has happened to me several times during this test. As you can see, this is my iPad, and it's connected through the wireless hotspot back to the Raspberry Pi. It appears as though it's booted up, but I'm not seeing any of my desktop icons or the primary menu that you would normally see, up here in the top left corner. So I'm not really sure what's going on. Usually I can get it to resolve, but it takes rebooting it, 2-3 times. So I don't know. I'm going to reboot. If you guys have any comments on that or any thoughts, hit me up down in the comments below. All right, so I'm attempting to get out a WinLink message. Currently I'm running 50 watts. I'm not sure if you can see that right over here or not on the screen, but it's doing its acking and knacking thing right now. Yesterday I was not able to get one out over HF. I was able to do 2 meter. Now today I can't do anything over 2 meter. And it looks like that hopefully this is going to make it out, but I'm getting a lot of knacks in there, so I'm not sure if it's going to make it or not. But we'll sit here and give it a couple more minutes and see if it completes. I'm going to just let the video run, and we'll put it in a fast forward mode right here. All right, so it looks like that just finished up finally, and that took roughly 7.5 minutes for that connection to be made. So now we can go over to our PAPT mailbox. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 new messages came in, and I think I sent 1 message out. All right, guys, we'll continue on shortly. All right, so currently I'm leaving a few messages on JS8 call. Letting everybody know the state of my battery, which is currently at about 6 amp hours. So I've left a message for Andy, N0JPD, and KD8QWH. So I'll leave a couple more and hope that they grab those this evening and know that I'm heading back out in the morning, back to the house. So all in all, I would say that the exercise was a huge success. It didn't go exactly as I thought it would. I was kind of surprised I was able to get into another APRS iGate that's really hit or miss in the mountains. But I guess I just had enough elevation, and the other iGate had enough elevation that it worked out. So that was kind of a surprising portion. Also, I kind of halfway thought I'd be able to get into a WinLink gateway somewhere over 2 meter. That turned out to be the case. And then that connection, I couldn't get into it on the following day. And I swapped over and started using HF WinLink connections. So, but all in all, it was a huge success. We ran, I tested just about every system that I had, including the little HT with the Android phone hooked up to it to pass text messages through the APRS system. We used WinLink, then we used JS8 call, and was even able to establish a couple of voice comms with that. I had 1 voice QSO with KA4ANA in the middle of the day over 40 meters when 40 meters was short enough for us. I had another one with Andy and my brother-in-law over 80 meters in the evening. I did try one with Tim, KF7VUT, and we tried and tried. It seemed like every band that was available to us, and just never could make that go through. But we did have other means of communication available. So huge success with this test. You'd got to get out there, guys, and test your systems and know what works and what doesn't. Know how long your batteries are going to last. Know how quickly your solar panel can charge things back up. I was lucky. I had sun on both days that I really needed to charge up, so the little power film, the little 30-watt guy, was plenty. It was able to provide plenty of recharge for the battery. I didn't operate all that much. This is a vacation for me and my wife. We just kind of mixed in this testing with it. I probably operated roughly an hour and a half each day, all together, maybe a little bit more on one particular day, maybe 2.5 hours on that day. But everything was able to keep up under ideal conditions. Had it been cloudy the entire time we were over there, or raining, I probably wouldn't have had as good of luck with that, and would have probably had to have been a little bit more conservative on my radio use. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. I know this was a pretty lengthy video, but we did want to put this out there since we spent a lot of time setting up this test. All right, we'll see you guys on the next video. Until then, 7-3.